What looks like a duck is definitely a duck, am I right? Well, not at all. Many sightings of strange creatures have been reported looking like a common animal, but turned out to be something else entirely.
What is that? I have no idea. What could that be?
Sort of like this humanoid predator that reportedly preys on humans, or this unconfirmed creature said to be the terror of livestock. Mermaids. Merfolk, the collective term for mermaids and mermen, are of course the marine version of half-human, half-animal legends that have captured human imagination for ages. One source, the Arabian Nights, described mermaids as having moon faces and hair like a woman's, but their hands and feet were in their bellies and they had tails like fishes. The footage that you're seeing right now has been circulating around the internet for quite a few years now, but nobody's been able to disprove it to this day. According to what I've gathered online, this short clip was shot at a local beach in Israel by some locals just there on a day trip. As they filmed down a cliff, they saw something sitting on a rock that quite startled them. The footage is quite grainy and shaky, but the shape of a humanoid with a fish's tail can be clearly seen sitting on the rocks. As soon as the creature discovered that it was being filmed, though, it quickly dived into the rough, muddy waters, never to be seen again. Now, it could be a seal, but as far as I know, seals can't be found in the wild in Israel where this footage was filmed. Is it a real mermaid? What do you think? Werewolves. A werewolf in folklore and mythology is a person who shapeshifts into a wolf, either purposely by using magic or after being placed under a curse. The medieval chronicler Gervase of Tilbury associated the transformation with the appearance of the full moon. However, this concept was rarely associated with the werewolf until the idea was picked up by modern fiction writers. Most modern references agree that a werewolf can be killed if shot by a silver bullet, although this is more a reflection of fiction's influence than an authentic feature of the folk legends. A werewolf allegedly can be killed by complete destruction of the heart or brain. Silver is unnecessary. It is pretty though. The photo you're seeing right now was allegedly taken in Argentina, where there had been reports of dogs being killed, and the short clip here alleges that these men caught and took down a werewolf in South Africa. So, werewolves, is they real? The Jersey Devil. The story of the Jersey Devil is an authentic folk legend. It's as varied as the number of people who claim to have seen or heard him.
What is that? I have no idea. What could that be?
For over 250 years, tales have circulated about the nocturnal ramblings of a creature emerging from the mists of a lonely, desolate marsh. As interest in the supernatural has grown, tales of the Jersey Devil have grown to blend folk belief with South Jersey history. One of the most famous stories tells of a place called Leeds Point. On a stormy night in 1735, a Quaker woman gave birth to a child during a thunderstorm. The room flickered with candlelight. The wind howled. Some believed her to be a sorceress. The impoverished woman, known as Mother Leeds, was believed to have many other children, as many as 12 actually. Some say the child was born deformed. Some say she cursed the child because of her dire straits. Other accounts say the child was born normal and took on an odd characteristic later. Characteristics such as an elongated body, winged shoulders, a large horse-like head, cloven feet, and of course a thick tail. According to legend, the child was confined until it made its escape either out of the cellar door or up the chimney. The Jersey Devil had been born. This photo was allegedly taken by a Pennsylvanian man while he was out driving, and he believes that it's that of the Jersey Devil. But of course, what do you think? Bigfoot.
Hello?
The legends of Bigfoot go back beyond recorded history and cover the world. In North America, and particularly the Northwest, you can hear tales of 7-foot-tall hairy men stalking the woods. They also occasionally scare campers, lumberjacks, hikers, and the like. North American settlers started reporting sightings during the late 1800s and into the 1900s, with the occasional finding of footprints, sporadic encounters, and even a few grainy photos and videos adding to the mystery.
On the ground, there was a footprint. A big footprint.
Those who claim to have seen Bigfoot have described everything from a large upright ape to an actual hairy man, sometimes standing over 8 feet tall and described as powerfully built. The debate and research continue. Entire organizations exist to study and document Bigfoot and prove its existence, and groups regularly search the Northwest woods, looking for that ultimate bit of proof. The clip that you're about to see is just one of the many documented sightings of an alleged Bigfoot. It's footage from a trail camera that was installed out in the woods somewhere in Oregon. So what do you think? Is this Bigfoot or just someone in an ape costume? Well, let us know what you think. Mothman. November 12, 1966 in Glendenning, West Virginia. Gravedigger working in a cemetery spotted something strange. And he's a gravedigger, he's seen strange stuff. He glanced up from his work when something huge soared over his head, a massive figure that was moving rapidly across the cemetery from tree to tree. Later he described the figure that he saw as a brown human being. This was the first reported sighting of what would come to be known as the Mothman of Point Pleasant. It's an elusive creature that, although now widely celebrated by the town it once terrorized, remains as mysterious as it was on the night that a few frightened witnesses first laid eyes on it. Just 3 days after the gravedigger's initial report in nearby Point Pleasant, West Virginia, two couples noticed a gray-winged creature about 6 or 7 feet tall standing in front of the car they were all seated in. Too bad smartphones haven't been invented at that time. We'd have photos of the sucker. The Thames River Monster. The Thames River Monster is a giant serpent-like creature sighted in Greenwich near the O2 Arena. It's been speculated to be at lengths of 30 to 170 feet. Think of it sort of like Nessie, but British instead of Scottish. Many of the local people have compared this creature to the Loch Ness Monster, while experts theorize it could be a species of Atlantic whale, known to travel up the Thames for feeding in the spring or early summer. This mysterious footage that has emerged on YouTube shows a large object making its way through the murky waters near the O2 Arena. It can be seen surfacing briefly before sinking back down. The video was taken by Penn Plate as he was traveling on the Emirates airline, a cable car journey near Greenwich that offers views of the capital. So, do you think that the video is real, or is it just an elaborate hoax? The Yeti. It's a legend that started with a single photograph of a footprint, but quite an unusual footprint at that. The photo shown here was taken back in 1951 on a glacier near the Mount Everest base camp. It shows a clearly humanoid footprint, but at 12 inches long. It clearly doesn't belong to any human. That's how the hunt for the Yeti, also known as the Abominable Snowman! In modern times, when Westerners started traveling to the Himalayas, the myth became more sensational. Many sightings of the creature have been reported, but few to no hard evidence actually exists. Like with its North American cousin, the Bigfoot, verifying the existence of the Yeti may be close to impossible. The Windigo. As the tale goes, the Windigo was once a lost hunter. During a brutally cold winter, this man's intense hunger drove him to cannibalism. After feasting upon another human's flesh, he transformed into a crazed man-beast, roaming the forest in search of more people to eat. For being an insatiable predator, though, the Windigo is definitely not the largest or most muscular beast out there. Though he is said to be almost 15 feet tall, his body is often described as emaciated and scrawny. Perhaps this can be attributed to the notion that he is never satisfied with his cannibalistic urges. Obsessed with hunting for new victims, he's forever hungry until he's eating another person. The video that you're about to see was taken by a couple of teens back in 2013 and is reported to be a credible sighting of a Windigo. The two were exploring an old abandoned house when they suddenly heard noises. They started to look for the source of the noise, but when they saw a humanoid as they entered the doorway, the video suddenly stops. Real Windigo sighting, or just an excellent fake? The Bunyip. The Bunyip, also known as the Cian Prady, is a creature of Aboriginal mythology. It lives in swamps, billabongs, creeks, riverbeds, and waterholes all over Australia. Bunyip, in the Wemba Wemba language, means devil or evil spirit. The Bunyip is usually described as having characteristics of both a bird and of an alligator. It has a head resembling an emu, while its body and legs partake of the nature of the alligator. The hind legs are remarkably thick and strong, and the forelegs are much longer, but still of great strength. The extremities are furnished with long claws, but those say its usual method of killing its prey is by hugging it to death. When in the water, it swims like a frog, and when on shore, it walks on its hind legs with its head erect, in which position it measures 12 or 13 feet in height. This short video clip claims to be that of a real bunyip that was caught in Australia. Problem is, the video is so grainy and low res that it's very difficult to see what's actually in the cage. Granted though, believers all claim that this is actual proof of the Bunyip. But what do you think? The Chupacabra. Few legends' validities have been as vehemently insisted upon as that of the Chupacabra, famed enemy of livestock all across the Americas. It particularly hungers for goats, for whom its bloodlust gave it its name. A blood-sucking creature usually the size of a small bear, sometimes with a tail always covered in scaly skin and a row of spines down its back, The Chupacabra has been a staple in Puerto Rican folklore for decades, ever since the first goat was found drained of its blood. While the explanation for the goat's death could have been anything, there were those who wondered if the Chupacabra had at last crawled out of the pages of folklore and onto their island. The footage that you're about to see is probably the most famous alleged Chupacabra video on the internet, and it shows a small, dog-like creature being chased by a car. Now, is this a Chupacabra or just a mangy dog like most people say? You decide. See you all next time.